And we should be live. Can't hear you, Alison.
I think she's chosen this moment to disappear.
Hey, there's Samit.
Yep. I thought everyone else has got the camera on, so why not? So how's everyone been? Everyone been good?
Mm.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Alison, are you there?
This is Alison properly disappeared then.
She's not doing anything. Can't hear you.
Go on, Chris, you got to take over now. So are we live or just?
We are live.
I think we're live. We're properly live.
Sorry, guys. This is not what it's meant to be. Oh, there it is. We just can't hear Alison, who's our host. Lee, do you want to take over, please? Can't hear you either.
I think you're muted, Lee.
Yeah, stop as if we're too professional.
Sure. So are you back, Alison, or are you still struggling? No, you're still struggling. Okay, fine. So hopefully someone can write in the chat if you can. That would be great. So we figured we'd get together and we just have a little chat like we normally do in the pub once a month. Get a few of the people together, tell us a little bit about what people are up to, things they're working on, how they've transformed their company. Use Samit in a little while, and we just chat it over in the way that we usually do, because a lot of us can't make all the events and things in the evening commitments, but jumping on a call for an hour is sometimes a bit easier, right? So that was kind of what we were thinking about, and the way we kind of plan to take this forward is maybe do it once a month, once every 6 weeks, whatever works for people. And we'll just get different people, maybe from different parts of the world eventually, different parts of the UK, because location is a problem for getting to these. So that was kind of our plan. One of the things we kind of wanted to mention to start with is that we are gonna do a little bit of a Q&A at the end after the people have spoken to you. So I know Alison is going to drop a forms link in the chat at some point, so that she's going to drop a forms link in so that we can drop you a video at the end of it. So we are going to record this, and then if you drop your email on there, we can send it out to you, and then you can forward it out to whoever you think it would be of interest to. You can just hear our Samit and Kaila's chats later on. We're also, as we say, that will be sent out later. But if any questions you've got as we're going through, if you want to drop them in the chat, and we'll either interrupt the guys on the way through or do a Q&A at the end, and then we'll wrap up after that. So as you kind of heard and seen, we've got Samit, who's going to talk to us about Heathrow and how he's transitioned things there. We've got Kaila, who's going to be debunking fake news on CDS extensions with D365 Finance and SCM. And then we're going to have Al, who's going to talk to us about Microsoft Do and all the things that you can do with that. So I think we'll probably hand over to Samit now to talk us through how you transformed Heathrow.
Oh, awesome. No, first of hello. Sorry. Oh, am I okay? I just want to say thank you so much for organising this. It's great to actually hang out with you guys. I can see you have a beer at the moment, Lee. So, but yeah, it's awesome to have you guys over and just hang out. Sometimes I don't get to speak to you in person or meet out, so no, it's good to have you guys over. So let me start off with saying first thank you, and let me show you my desktop. Okay, let me know if you can see this. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to talk about the what we've done with the Power Platform at Heathrow at the moment. So my name is Samit Saini, and I work for IT DevOps, part of the solution specialist. I've been working at Heathrow Airport for 14 years. And most of you who have traveled through Heathrow probably have seen me asking you if you could please remove your liquids, laptops and iPad. Yep, that's me. And that was my day-to-day job for the last 13 years.
Satya, Samit.
Sorry?
We've usually seen you sat with Satya, not me.
No, I mean that was a couple of years ago, but this is how I started off with. Literally, honestly, you know, I would be doing this day to day, asking passengers, could you please remove your liquids, laptops, iPads, even celebrities as well. So I want name drop, you know, who I've searched, David Beckham. But yeah, but we had the opportunity to ask passengers, you know, if you left any liquids in your bag, I'll be the person who'll be rejecting your bag or searching your bag. So I enjoyed it. You know, I did it for 13 years, and you know, my dad did the same. It's where I met my wife. You know, she's been working there for 10 years. So yeah, and most of my family have actually worked at Heathrow Airport. So you know, it's not just a community; it's also I have family members working there. So how do I get started using the Power Platform, or how did Heathrow get to start using Power Apps? We had a business change manager. Her name is Komal, and she came over and she said that we have Office 365 applications available for us. And I said, great. Sorry, let me just go to the next page. Yeah, and she was saying that this application, all these applications are not just available for the office workers, but they're also available for people like me who don't always use Outlook. And so we never used to have our own Heathrow account or our own Heathrow email address. We had our personal one. So for example, someone would have hello Miss Kitty85@hotmail.com to email a manager. But now, because we've got Office 365, we've got our own personal email address. And they said, go and Komal at the time, she goes, go and check these applications out available and see what you can learn. So I knew about Excel, PowerPoint and Word. So I thought this would be a good way of learning. So after I left my shift, which was about 9 o'clock, I went home and I was so excited about learning something new. I quickly put the kids to bed, put the wife to bed, and started learning something new. And I went to I started learning every application, and I got into Power Apps. And it said, this is how you can create an app in 5 minutes. And I was like, okay, I've never created an app before. I'm not into coding, but let me have a try. Started opening up Excel spreadsheet, opening up the columns. So started creating the columns, naming it, and saving the Excel spreadsheet into the OneDrive. And after that, it's asked me to go to the Power Apps website, go to your create from database, find OneDrive, find the Excel spreadsheet, tick it, and create the database. And literally less than a minute, my app has been created just from my Excel spreadsheet, straight to an app. All I have to do now is save the app, go to my phone, download Power Apps, and I'll see my app there straight away. And I thought this is too good to be true, too easy to be an app. I've opened the app from my phone, started inputting the data from my phone, submit it where the tick button is, and straight away the data from my phone is gone straight to Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like, wow, why doesn't no one know this? I was like so amazed. I felt smart. This is the first time ever in my life I felt actually smart, you know, because I've developed something literally in 5 minutes that about 90% of the people in the world uses their smartphone. They use apps, and now I feel like I'm a app developer because I created something literally in 5 minutes. So now I'm thinking, I've got so many ideas now. Heathrow uses a lot of paperwork, a lot of auditing. What can I do? But my main aim was to start small. So I took a I took a language book. Now this language book here, if you can see it, which is this one. We're in an international airport. We have loads of passengers that come by that speak so many other languages. They don't understand the rules or regulation of Heathrow. And we present this book to say, could you please remove your liquid laptop and iPad in their language? Around 82 pages, 32 languages, and we're not able to carry this book around. So I thought, why not use this book to make it into an app? So I took the book home, start scanning the pictures, and as you use PowerPoint, how you insert pictures into PowerPoint, that's exactly what I was doing with PowerPoint, Power Apps. I was inserting pictures, adding buttons, and when you press a button, it will tell you to go to a certain language, which was so easy to do. Again, this app had no coding at all, and I loved it. I was getting more hooked. I thought, okay, what else can I learn? So I was adding things like videos. I was adding things like Microsoft Translator. And then they said, then I showed it to my manager, and my manager goes, who built this app? And I was like, I built this app. And he goes, how much coding is involved? And I said, not much coding. Let me show you. Let's spend an hour and I'll break it apart and I'll show you how it's built. They introduced me to IT, and then they said, oh, you're building this on your own time? I said, yep. He goes, basically, you're like a shadow IT. I didn't know what shadow IT was at the time, but they said, you're shadow IT. And, would you like to present this app to other departments? And that's what I did. But do you know what I got to learn is that by building something like this from scratch, it needed like an app cycle. It needed like a app cycle management kind of thing. So if other people are going to build it, there should be a certain way. And so I've created something like this. It's called the Power Apps lifecycle, where you can have an idea. Let's design it, review it, see what kind of branding does it need. Let's build it, pilot it, see if it works and people are interested in it. And once they piloted, let's document it so we know that if I leave or I go to a different department, it gets signed off. And that's what led me to my next position. So from becoming a security officer, for becoming a digital champion and showcasing what Power Apps can do, I got the opportunity to work as an adoption specialist. And now I'm building apps where I'm not just building standard apps, I'm building apps that can do a lot of auditing. So in a scenario where security managers would take a piece of paper or take about 6 or 7 pieces of papers, go to different terminals and do audits where they're auditing equipments, auditing signages, auditing things like making sure that the areas are safe, and that would take up to 5,000 sheets of paper a month. After they've done the auditing, they go back and give it to an admin person, and then that admin person, end of the month, would fill in all that audit form onto an Excel spreadsheet. And at the end of the month, they'll say, oh, by the way, this is how much we have lost, or this is how much we could have done better, and so on. So we won't becoming reactive. We're becoming more reactive than proactive. And then it was really, really good. Then I got the opportunity to build an app, and I got the security managers involved, say what do you like about the audit, what you don't like about the audit, and let's make an app into it. And within weeks. Oh, by the way, so quick thing. Before we even start building an app, we started documenting it. So if you got Windows 10, if you go to search and you type in PSR, it's called the problem step recorder. It allows you to record every single step that you're doing on your browser. Another thing is, which I found out, is someone gave me the documentation on problem step recorder. Do not open your browser if you're going to record your steps. Just a hint out there. So Trust me, it's so many interesting things when you when someone leaves their browser out. So yeah, don't, if you're going to use problem step recorder, don't open up your browser when you do that. And then the second thing to do if you want to record your steps is you got Windows key, so hold down Windows keys and capital G. And this allows you to record everything that you're doing on your screen. So this was a great way of helping us to document our apps and record our apps as well at the same time. Yeah, and then a week later, we were able to create something like this, which saved us up to 5,000 sheets of paper a month. That did not need any paperwork, which was simplified as much as we could. And again, if you see on the right-hand corner, you see a text box there. Now, most phones now have a microphone next to it. So when you're texting, there's a microphone that comes into it. You can actually speak and it'll type it for you. So I was trying to make it more accessible, making sure it's more easier to use, because the aim is that as soon as you use something, an app, you don't need a tutorial. Just like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, you don't need training on those apps. So why should your app that you create have it as well? And it should have branding. So it's a great way to get the team involved and see what how easy the app can be. And the great thing is we didn't just use Power Apps. I got to learn things like Power Automate, got to learn about Power BI and SharePoint List, because that was the aim. The aim was to start small. Something wasn't that's the best way to do the starting point of using creating an app. But yeah, and after that, we was able to create something like this, the Power App Cycle, for data purposes. But yeah, feel free to ask questions, about Power Apps and Heathrow and so on. I think I've talking a lot now, but I'm always here to. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I will leave you to the next person, and I'll actually give it back to Lee. So no, thank you for listening, and I hope it went well. And no, thank you for your time.
Cheers, Samit. Good to hear about kind of how that story's gone, how that progression's gone. The branding thing's really important. Like your app looks really slick.
Oh, thank you. I mean, again, when you look at the community and stuff, you can learn a lot from it. Again, you can learn from Keith, you can learn from Chris, to everyone. And I love, that's what I love about the community, is that I'm always learning something new. And when it comes to app design, you got someone like Alan Che and so on. So it's great. You can always learn something new. Even this, I mean, PowerPoint itself, you can, I was no good at PowerPoint, but watching other people, how they do their PowerPoint deck, it's great. So I will stop sharing, but thank you for your time.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey guys, yeah. so I'm gonna apologize up front. I had some technical difficulties, but I figured out how to get on. I'm a Dynamics person and a Power Platform person, not a Teams person. So there we go. But I just wanted to give everyone a shout out and say welcome to the call. Thank you everyone for joining, and yeah, great job, Samit. It was really, really, really awesome to hear your story. And as you know, I think that you're an absolute legend amongst others. So I really appreciate it. So who've we got up next?
I think it's me. So let me.
Amazing. I'm excited for this. I'm going to learn something about FinOps.
Nobody wants to learn anything about FinOps.
I do. I'm learning something new every day. So yeah.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
There we go. You have to just let me know. Someone shout if I say something completely ridiculous. You never know.
Completely ridiculous.
Usually takes a little bit longer. So my name is Kaila Bloomfield, and most people probably might not know me because I've been hiding in the industry for years, and Chris tells me off about it and then puts me on things like this. So I'm partner technical architect at Microsoft now, and specialising in finance and operations, which I've implemented client and partner side, and then jumped to Microsoft just to mix it up a little bit. And one of the things we're seeing at the moment is a bit of a culture shock. So anyone who knows about or works with customer engagement, you're all going to be a bit mortified, because I'm going to talk about what life is really like for a finance and operations consultant still today, and you'll feel like we're talking about sort of 2010. We go to customers, you know, and I actually do think finance and operations is beautiful now. I mean, if you compare it to 2012 or even AX4, you know, it's horrific. But we're highly configurable. We're beautiful now because we're actually in the cloud and we're on JavaScript a little bit, and things are a bit great. But we, you know, we go to the customers and they want us to customize it. And they say, oh, well, we've got an industry specific process, or we've got a customer specific gap. And, you know, as of really even today still, we're really limited on what we do. So we're down a stream where we have to work with one version or evergreen. So we're supposed to be taking all these updates all of the time, and everything we do, we have to make sure is compatible with these updates. But what we've had for years actually is we would just have to do custom code. We'd have to use X++, and most of you might not have even heard what X++ is, because finance and operations seems to be the only system in the world that actually uses it. And we then have to try and make that work. So we try really hard. We can change the colour, make it pink, but still actually it's just a big beastie customization, you know, and ultimately we can make finance and operations, you know, tie a customer's shoelaces if they really want to. I mean, sometimes there's things that happen that we probably shouldn't do, but you can. That's probably part of the problem, you can. And we then have to try and make it work with one version. We go through testing, and it doesn't really work actually. You know, you start testing it, you start doing one version, and ultimately things just start falling apart. You know, I have literally been part of a world where we had to do public sector tax, for example, because we had to customize to make it work with inventory. We have literally done everything possible to minimize code, make it as extensible, as impact free to one version. And do you know what? One version came in, still broke it a little bit. So we've been stuck in this cycle actually, where we needed to customize to meet some requirements, because there will always be industry specific gaps, or to be honest, just customer specific needs that you can't bypass in specific sectors, you know, or just as anyone would know. But we're starting to see some changes. When it comes to Power Platform, most of the people on this call know what it's about. We know that actually it's trying to find a way to meet these extra requirements that nobody really knows of, and you would never find in a centralized product or ERP or, you know, CRM solution. And Samit has just explained exactly the benefit of what you can have when you allow companies to do what they need to do best in a way they need to do it. And it's about making sure you can do it in a way that is impact free to the system in question. Finance and operation has been trying to be compatible with the common data model and CDS for quite a while, but it just never really quite worked. You know, I was trying to make it work, God, a year ago, and it was there and then it wasn't there and didn't really work. Well, we're finally, like, oh my God, we are finally at a position where we are becoming compliant. So as of today, you actually can get in preview full dual write capabilities between Finance and SCM and the Common Data Service. I mean, everything you can really think about needing. It's available. It's coming in GA in April. It's taken it's been in preview now for, to be honest, probably the best part of a year. You know, it's been tricky. You know, finance and operations, the whole data structure was not built really to work with what eventually evolved to be the common data model. So it's taken a long time. And then when it did start coming, we had the issues to say, well, do you know what, to extend it if we want to use model driven apps, then we need the performance. We need it to be near real time. So that thought process had to go away to say, actually, how do we make that work? Well, that's where dual right came in. We have the apps that are breaking down of finance and operations now. We have finance, we have human resources, or what used to be talent. We have SCM coming in, and we needed them all to be able to be isolated apps whilst also speaking to each other like it's still one solution. And Microsoft really have gone out of their way and put a significant amount of effort into getting this right. What you'll find, actually, I was reviewing the entity list even just before this call. Almost all the valid entities now that you would realistically want to know about are coming in phase 1 in April. Anything from your sales ledger or your general ledger, from your purchase ledger, they're all going to be there. Customers, transactional, you've got all of your warehouse functionality coming in now, including your sites, your product management and master. So pretty much, they've gone with all of the basics, and they are what is going to really enable us to all think differently in the finance and operations space going forward. I mean, realistically, if you're talking and looking at customers now, we all know that ERP is going to take quite a few months to get up and running. It always does. So you really need to consider this as your extensible solution for finance and operations gaps now. I mean, all of the entities, I couldn't even fit them in one word cloud, and then I had to fit even less because I decided it needed to look a little bit like a castle. So, there is a lot in there. You can't really now look at it and say it's not going to meet our requirements. What is actually going to happen is that we're going to go through a little bit of a culture shock and a culture evolution, because we've lost a little bit of trust from a ERP in this platform, just because it's taken us so long to get to this point. But we really need to get there. And what also is coming, and what's key, is our compatibility with the common data model. I mean, that's humongous. That's actually then coming into GA from May. It's not in preview yet, so we can't get early access to what they're working on. But I will be shouting out everywhere the moment that does come out and become available, sort of in private and public preview, because that literally means we're then coming to the point of being on par with the compatibility to the Power Platform that you get today with customer engagement. And we need to start considering with every implementation we do that this is a viable alternative. The functionality that's coming with the model-driven apps, the functionality that's coming with the dual right to do real-time integrations, and all of the entities then that will be as standard available for you to use in the finance and operations implementations from April. When that customer now needs a new front-end screen or extended processes, you literally now can use Power Automate. If you want to even not use the dual right functionality but want to do near real-time integrations, when we released the business events functionality, which hasn't seen the uptake, I don't believe, as we would probably want to see, that was a critical turning point for what we're trying to do, because as standard, it enables us to talk properly to Power Automate. The business events functionality enables us to talk and use dual right functionality and have these conversations to the apps coming in. So, the world's changing, and the way we think about our implementations is changing. Any significant customization we should not be doing anymore, and model-driven apps and Power Platform, we are going down that route. We want to literally make sure everything that we're implementing going forward is beautiful and it looks perfect, and Power Platform is going to allow that to happen. The releases coming in April are going to allow that to happen. We just need to get over that push, and to help enable that, there are also events coming that are enablement workshops that will be hands-on to talk about FinOps, to talk about how you go through this process, and also to be, you know, a bit of an educational session to say, right, let's go. And we're rolling this out to the community and to the partners to get them involved and welcome finance and operations finally to the Power platform. So, and Chris is real excited. There you go. Chris is giggling at me.
Yeah, well,
I've also been dragging Chris to these events because my Power Platform brain, I'm typical FinOps, it's not quite there yet. So that guy is going to have a hard year with me.
you're doing perfectly well. Thank you, actually. That was awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, I always learn something new when Kaila speaks. So,
how do you reckon we are from like full CDS or CDM integration? Like, what we talking? 6 months, 2 years? Where do we reckon we are?
So, based on all of the use cases I've seen and the attempts I actually did myself, we are actually really close now. And I think it was a much harder journey than Microsoft wanted it to be. But it's just because in some elements of FinOps, it's still not really cloud native. And I know, you know, nobody's shocked to hear it, but it's not. It's still not quite cloud native. I mean, CE's much closer. You started the journey much earlier than we did, whereas we're only really now going on the whole let's have isolated apps. The April and the release that's coming in GA that has taken them this long, it now is absolutely viable. And anyone who is considering it or even intrigued by this conversation, just go and get on the preview. You know, it's literally that easy. Go try it out, get on the preview. It is there. You know, it's in public preview now. So all you literally need is to build a dev environment and install the April platform. Go have some fun. You know, it's a bit like Samit is saying, sometimes you just need to have a little bit of a tinker and see where it ends up.
So Kaila, question from an adoption perspective, are you finding that a lot of the FinOps partner and customer base are, you know, understanding and picking up this concept of configuration and customization using and leveraging the Power Platform?
Power Platform, yes. Power Platform with FinOps is a different ballgame.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, you know, we have a lot to learn. And we have a lot of lessons that I think are a bit harder to stick, that we haven't quite got there yet. But it's come from a lack of trust. You know, actually, the connectors to CDS were in general availability before, and they took them back out. So, you know, it's not, we're not all scared of it because, you know, we don't want to adopt to what the future holds. There are people that have been scorned by it, and most of the FinOps crowd are doing human resources now, and the human resources / talent integration that to FinOps was an absolute nightmare as well. And also, there's been a number of events that have happened over the last 12 months, which means that people were reserved through sort of real scar tissue, and that's why we're doing all the hands-on events, because we want to prove to people that you don't have that scenario anymore. Sort of come back in, we're actually ready for you now.
Amazing. Well, that excites me and fills me with great amounts of glee.
It won't when you're at these workshops asking crazy questions.
Can I tell you guys on the call? So I've been set up for success or failure. I don't know which one, but I've been roped into a FinOps and Power Platform workshop, which I'm incredibly excited about.
That's just the first. There will be many more. You know, we're just saying, Mr. Dorrington might get dragged in as well. You never know yet. Let's just do a name drop and say like that. We've said it now. Now you're tied.
Can I just say, can anyone hear me now?
Yay!
Yeah.
We missed you.
The party.
I'm always late to the party. I'm fashionably late. So to everybody that's out there listening, crack open your next beer. Put your feet up, relax, unwind, because Al is about to tell us all you can learn about Microsoft To Do in 15 minutes. And when I tell you he struggled to try and cut everything down to the bare minimum that he could fit in 15 minutes, like he could talk for hours on this. So I'll hand over to Al now, and he's going to teach you some amazing productivity modern workplace hacks. Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Alison. So yes, I need to put some pink castles in this. That'll make it far more interesting. So yeah, I guess this is all about task management, and not quite dynamics, but certainly we all need to manage activities that we're doing. So I'm trying this slightly differently this time. As Alison said, I've tried to strip this down. So I've turned it into a task list of things that I need to get done in my allocated time. So for those of you who are not familiar with To Do, To Do is an evolution of what was the Exchange tasks. And now if you do try and go into Exchange tasks, so if you do actually have the tasks available, you will see that you have To Do or you have tasks. And if you go into Office 365 and you try going into tasks, it'll create a mailbox. That's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to have done that. And it will give you the option to say tasks. So it's coming in to Office 365, and if you click on the tasks, it will actually, it should just take you, if it clicks, oh, the demo gods are being mean already. That's not fair. Well, what it will take you to is tasks. And it'll say a few things. It'll say, do you want to show flagged email? Yeah, we'll show that. Assigned to me, so tasks in Planner. Yeah, we'll show that as well. And do you want to import from Wunderlist? So if you do still have Wunderlist and you are still using it, then you can actually import stuff directly from Wunderlist into this. And it will give you a very simple setup of tasks. So one of the things that I've done here is just set up a task list, and I've shared it with myself. So that's one of the things that we'll come on to later on. But that's what the experience when you first use it. It's quite easy to set up, and you start off with an empty task list, which works quite nicely. But that's not all. Once you've downloaded the app, so you can get a Windows 10 app, one of the nice things for it is you can have multiple accounts in it, which works well if you've got personal accounts and a work account, and in this case, a demo account as well. So we can start off with tasks, and as you can see, I've just put in some tasks here. So who am I? It's always a good place to start. So in here, I've just added a task in, and this has a few subtasks. So one of the key things about To Do is that you've got different elements in here. So I can have something in here that says I've got a Twitter handle. So if you do want to ask questions, just tweet me. Got my name. And I work for a consultancy, so I do this quite a lot with clients in terms of how different people use task management. So whether they're using Planner, whether they're using Project, or whether they're using personal tasks. So if you are interested, you can go to there. And then there's a whole bunch of other things in here. So one of the things that I've got here is, what is the structure of To Do? Well, what we're looking at here is essentially a very simple list. We have details over on the right-hand side. And then we have smart lists and task lists. So To Do is very much targeted at personal and team level tasks. So I can manage all of these tasks down here on the left. At the bottom are my personal tasks. If I want to have shared tasks, then they'll come in from Planner. And I can also have flagged emails as well. So let's just work through this. So structure of a task. So if I have a task selected, I can add steps in quite easily. So I can put those in quite easily, and I can check those off as well and see those get done. I have other things in here, so I can say I want a reminder. So I might say reminder tomorrow at 9 o'clock next week, or I can pick a date and time and say actually I want it to be maybe not 11 o'clock at night, maybe let's do 8 o'clock in the morning. 8:02. So I can put quite precise reminders in for things. I can add due dates in as well. So if I add a date in and I say today, tomorrow, if I let's just put it in the past. If I save it as yesterday, immediately it's popped up with a date in there to say yesterday, and it's flagged it as red. So it will indicate what dates things need to be done, and it will highlight them to say when it was due to be done. Now the date comes in really quite useful, because when you start to get into planned, you start to look at these dates. And you can also obviously have repeating. So whether it's daily, weekdays, weekly, put in custom, so every number of days, I can put repeating tasks in. I can also add files. Now, the files I'm not so keen on. The reason I'm not so keen on them is that it brings this up and it says, right, well, choose a file. I'd much rather that be linked to something like OneDrive, so that I'm just using my personal files and I can add a link in there. And I think that's an area that still needs to be developed. But I can also add notes in. So if there were more details, I can put in more details on what I need to do for this particular task. And I can save that, and that'll save updated. So one of the key things that this has, you'll often hear about the to-do ding. So whenever you click it, if you've got your volume up, then you'll hear a nice little sound to say that you've done and completed that task, and it will get a line through it, and you can then say, well, actually I want to hide my completed tasks. Now this is quite a simple task list. So the next things that I need to do, my lists. So I've got one task list, but I might work on multiple different tasks. So down on the left here, I've got a few things here. So I've got community events. So I've got a set of different task lists. I'm in my personal tasks, but I might have a different task list that is to do with a particular subject. And so I can say, well, I've got all of these same tasks. If I wanted to make it different, I could change the color, make it a little more engaging. It's more like a holiday doing this call, so we'll leave that there. And I can pin that to the start. So that will actually pin that task list to my Windows start. So if I say yes to that, and then I pull this up, then what we see down at the bottom there is I've now got my task list pinned, and I can see that task list, and if I click into it, it will just come straight in and open that task list. So if you do have a list of things that you're doing on a regular basis that you need to work on, then you can use that quite easily. You can also have lots of them in there. You can have different groups, so you can say I want a new group or a new list. Creating a new list is very easy. You just give it a name, and then you can just start adding tasks, and then you can just come in and just say task 1, and you can automatically put your due date in. You can put reminders in, you can make it repeating, and you just hit return, and that's created. So very easy to create the tasks. So we come back here, so my lists. So we've got lots of lists that we can put in. One of the key things about this is with these lists we can have templates. So I can say, actually, maybe there's a new user group that I want to do. So I can right click on that and I can say duplicate this list, and it will create a copy, and then I can just move that list around, and then I can just update that and give it a new name, user group 7, and there you go, and that's all set up, and that's brought across all of the tasks, the subtasks in there. If you bring in dates, you can put those in as well, but it will bring all of those across. So it's quite easy to set these templates up and then reuse these templates. So if you do have regular things, so say you have a regular meeting you have to prepare for, you have a set of tasks for onboarding new users, you can add task list into those. So my list. So what is a task? So it's quite interesting if you think about what a task is, because they mean different things to different people. So, you might have a task that is like this, starting maybe on a piece of paper and you're just writing down a task. You might have things that you're trying to manage and that you need to know when they're due. So you're putting dates in, and you might have things that you're working on in a team as well. So where you've got planner tasks. Now, one of the big asks that I get from most clients is, how do I see all of my tasks in one place? That is the utopian dream, to see everything in one place, whether they are, coming from Dynamics, whether they're coming from project, whether they're coming from teammates, whether they're personal tasks that you need to try and remember. And this is really where To-Do is starting to make a big inroad into that, because we can say that we've got tasks in here. We can say that we can create them quite easily. We can complete them quite easily. But when those tasks really start to kick in, you say, well, actually, what's late and what's not, then you're starting to get into tasks that are assigned to you and tasks that are managed through Planner. So if I flip over to Planner, so say I'm working in a team and I've got some tasks. So maybe I've got community projects and I've got tasks in here, and in Planner I have some tasks that I've put in. Now these tasks have a bit more information in there. We have a bit more flexibility in terms of how we can report on them. We can put labels in. We've got progress. Are they in progress, completed, not started? We've got priorities, and we can have these custom buckets for presentations. Now this is really designed for managing tasks as a team, so you can move them around quite easily. You can view them in different ways, so grouping by buckets or grouping by, so we might want to change that and say actually we want to group it by labels instead. But the key thing here is that if we add a new task and we say, so let's put demo task in here, and if I assign it to myself and I say let's put a due date on it of let's put yesterday again, and I say add that task. So I've got my task in there, demo task. If I come back to do and I go into assign to you, I have some tasks in here already, and as we go through these, you'll see that the other one will come through. So these other ones are already tasks that I'd set up and assigned to myself. So I can see I've got one that's due back on the 12th of February. That's showing up in there. That's showing up as late. It's flagging as red. But actually, I can click in here and I can see some information. Now, it's important to note I can't see all the information. I can't see the same set of activities in here that I could see in Planner. So where I come in and I look at test tech, I can see that I've got a bucket in there. I can see that I've got a priority in there that I can't see. What I can add is added notes, and I might say A, B, and C. I will save that. Now in here I can choose to do things like show that on the card and check those off in there. What I won't see in here when this refreshes, there we go, tech communities come. So my demo task has just come through, so I can see that's come through. And my tech community, I'll see my tasks, but I won't see everything. So I'll see some notes, but I won't see the attachments and I won't see the priorities. But what I can do directly from here is I can check those off and I can check that task off. And again, I've got this set to hide completed tasks. And if you were very quick, you would have seen that disappear and my test tech is now complete. So this means that even if I've got group tasks, I can actually access them all from within To-Do if they're assigned to me. If you manage emails, then potentially you will have Outlook as a key place that you go to actually see emails. So you might have your notifications coming through from Planner. You can actually flag those and they will also come through so that you can actually see them in here. Now, you might think, well, why would I flag them and want to see them in here? One of the key things that you see here is stars. So I can mark these as important and say, actually, I need to do them. So if you think about how you plan the work that you have to do, you might say, well, actually, I've got 3 in there. Maybe I've got in my tasks here, I've got some more that I need to do. Well, all of those come into this list here. So in here, I've got things that I've flagged as important. So this is my personal view on these, and I've flagged emails and I've flagged tasks, both from my planner tasks and for my personal tasks, and I can see them all in one place. So I might say, well, actually, that's what I need to do this week. And then I can add them to my day. Now, there's a whole psychology around completing tasks. We all love to complete tasks. So if you think about, you're flagging what's important, but then you say, right, out of everything, these are the things that I'm going to do today. Then ideally, what you want to do is you want to be heading through these and going, yep, I've done those, so that your day is complete and you've completed all tasks in one day that you've set out to do. And this is where to do really works well. It allows you to aggregate all of those tasks together, bring them into one place, one interface that you can actually manage them, and then you can complete them all in one go. So let's see what I have completed. So I think I've explained what a task is. Assigned to you. So these are the planner tasks. They must be assigned to you, and then they'll show up in here. Flagged email. So smart lists, plans. So this is where they do have due dates, and that can be whether they're assigned to you or whether they are your personal ones. So where you've got coming through from tasks that in your lists, you'll see them, and where you got them coming through from planner, you'll see them as well. My day, really important to try and motivate yourself to get all of those tasks done. It is always disappointing when they're not done at the end of the day, but that's that's just life, isn't it? So if you have put things into my day, one of the key things that you can also do is you can come in to your calendar, and you can come in, and if you click on my day, you'll see the things that you've added to my day, and you can actually just drag these in to your calendar. And so you can just, if you want to schedule the tasks that you need to do, you can just drag them in, and then they'll be in there. And then when you click on those, you'll see them. If you come in, you see your task, you'll see the details. So it tries to put in the information that you need to actually have your task there. It won't allow you just to tick them off from in there yet, but that is coming. But you can tick them off from over here. So if I say 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's just updating because I've just been doing those. I'll do that one as well, which I haven't done in to do, and then that hopefully, yep, that's ticked it as done. So if I do show all the completed ones, they're all done. So it's quite nice to be able to tick those off from within Outlook. It is Outlook Online. It is not Outlook, the desktop client. So one of the good reasons to look at using the online client. And then the last part is shared lists. So I can share tasks. So this is a task list that's been shared with me. I can see who the owner is, and I can see the members. There's not massive amounts of security, but it does mean that if you don't need anything quite as formal as Planner, you don't need a full Office 365 group to support it, then you can just share a task list, and you can choose to leave the task list if you want. And I think I'm probably pushing it on time, and that is a very whirlwind tour of to do in, I think, 15 minutes, possibly slightly more. So there you go.
Lovely, thanks Al, that was amazing. Very much enjoyed that.
Well, hopefully it's useful as well. So if you do have any questions, I think I've put out on Twitter, if you've got any questions about it, then do shout.
Yeah, so somehow I don't know how I've managed it, but I haven't managed to open up the chat on the meeting. Like, I think only we producers and presenters can see it. So apologies to anyone listening. If you can't access the chat, I will get that fixed for next time. Al, that was amazing. Kaila, that was amazing. Samit, that was amazing. Thank you so much, guys. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time at the end while anyone's putting in Twitter questions to go through some of the upcoming UGs. Like, one of the reasons for organising this online call was I hear from a lot of people in community that they find it a bit tricky to get to in-person events. and some people weren't aware that there are UGs local to them. So I just wanted to have a quick run through about what you've got coming up in the Microsoft community across the coming months. So there's the D365 UG in Birmingham, which is on the 26th of Feb. On the 29th of Feb, I can't actually see what that is. Oh, that's the Scottish Summit, isn't it? How could I forget that? That's right. Fantastic. That's it. That was my own goal for today. So,
You just upset Mark.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure he'll send me a death threat later for it. It's all good. Yeah, I look forward to that. And then on the 9th to the 12th of March is Community Summit in Barcelona. Then on the 12th of March, there is Power Apps and Power Automate UG in London. 18th of March, next virtual happy hour, guys. 1st of April is Teams Fest, which I'm fairly sure Al will be going to. I'm certainly going to be attending that one.
I'll be going into more detail about task management.
Awesome. I look forward to that. After that is the UG in Nottingham on the 23rd of April, which is run by Megan Walker, I believe, and is awesome. The 27th of April is London/Reading, which is an all-dayer, and that's now hosted by Andy Bibby, as Sarah Critchley's left us and no longer loves us. And then there's Comsverse at Mercedes-Benz World on the 29th and 30th of April. I believe that's still going ahead. Was it? There was some talk about it not going ahead because of coronavirus. Did I imagine that? I do imagine a lot of stuff.
That. I think that was about the community summit in Barcelona, which I think is still going ahead.
Okay, so
is going ahead as well.
Okay, yeah, I see. I get like a mishmash of stuff in my head, and then like just lump it all together, like all the colours of Play-Doh, just to make this kind of purpley mush inside my head. And then on the 6th and 7th of May is BizApp Summit in Dallas, where all of the oil comes from. So did anybody have any Twitter questions that they wanted to ask?
Hey, you've got the Bristol user group. We've got another Bristol user group running on the 26th of March as well. Over that side.
Yeah, Bristol UGs are awesome as well. Like all of the local UGs are awesome. And like if you're listening to this call now and you haven't been to a UG because you don't know what to expect or you don't know anybody there, like you can always reach out to me or any of the guys on this call. Like one of us is going to be at one of those events for sure. Like come and find us. We'll introduce you to some people so that you know some other people there. Like, you know, don't be afraid. Like it's a really they tend to be very open events and everybody's very welcoming. Like you won't be left sat on your own not doing anything. Somebody will come and talk to you, even if it's because you look weird. So, you know, just go along. There's always free pizza, like, which is and probably free beer, so like it's worth it just for that anyway. So anything anybody else would like to add?
I'll just say, if you've got any questions.
Oh, Kaila.
Wow.
UG version. There you go.
Oh, well, you have
to have done very well at hiding.
Wow,
Yeah.
this is my judging silently face.
I was going to say, if you've got any questions, then going to a UG to get answers is always a great start as well.
Very much.
Or direct messaging Ellen all the time.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Especially with licensing questions. Alan loves licensing questions.
I know somebody that I pass them all on to. Yeah.
I have a man for that.
Chris.
Could I also say a massive thank you to Carl Cookson for organising this, and a big thank you to Lee and Chris as well, who've done so much to make this call happen. We've had a few teething problems, sure. Going to be the first of like a million of these, so thanks to those guys. I would give you a round of applause, but like I just think it's weird. It's just me clapping. So,
I'm sure your mic will probably break again before that happens, won't it?
Yeah, or my teams will crash. You know, one of those two things will happen. So that's tremendous. So yeah, anything anybody else wants to add before we sign off?
No, it's been awesome. No, thank you for having us, and looking forward to many more of these, because you know, knowledge and learning is everywhere. So why not use the opportunity to come on to these virtual happy hours and learn something new? So thank you for organising.
Yeah, love that.
Anyone who is crazy enough to want to join the FinOps world, keep an eye, because I will be promoting the living hell out of it for the rest of the year. So, you know, I will be driving you all insane.
You said the rest of your life wrong over there.
No, it's not the rest of my life. I genuinely tend to have a life after this year, but for this year I'll dedicate it to Power Platform FinOps. But next year, no, I might try and, you know, have a little bit of a life. Maybe then I'll be able to go to a UG.
I'm going to make it a mission to drag you to a UG now. That's yeah. I feel like that's my mission for this quarter or next quarter maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also a massive thank you to Al, Samit, and Kaila for giving those sessions, which were amazing. I think Lee told everybody at the beginning that there will be a recording available. My Teams did crash twice during that, so hopefully the recording is okay. But you can we're going to send out a form so that you can leave your email address to have the recording put straight in your inbox, or you can we'll set up a YouTube channel with all the recordings on it. This one may be patched together with some tape across the 3 parts of it where my Teams crashed, but like, I'm sure you'll let us off, it'll be fine. So I think that's it, guys. That's a wrap, and we should bid everybody a fond farewell. Chuck some wine down your neck, put your feet up, and have a really good rest of your Wednesday.
Yep. See you soon. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks all.
Cheers all.
Bye, guys. Bye.